Mr. President, I think Supervisor Anderson wanted to be contacted on some of these issues, and while we're trying to get him on the phone, I start with the jail memo, and I think that's Mr. Jenkins, Andrew Jenkins in here. If he'll come forward just so we can discuss the jail memo and the reason of the jail situation. With the jail memo, it was brought to my attention that there might be some communications out in the public that somewhat state that the same situation that happened in Part C can happen with Part A and B.
Okay, one second before we go any further. Mr. Gaylor, I think that what the attorney had advised us, Mr. Stokes, is that we discussed that in the executive session because of the fact that it would involve security issues that we really don't want to have in the public at this point. It's very sensitive as it relates to the security issues involving the jail. Okay. So if we could hold that, we'd be glad to talk in the executive session. You'll be the first person up. Okay, well, with that, hopefully we don't have to go into the executive session. I guess, could I just say that if we need to make the same repairs to A and B, then we're making it to C, to make sure that what happened to C won't happen to A and B. And I guess I was just going to ask, could we try to find money to make those repairs? I guess that's what I do. Okay. But I do without bringing it up. Mr. President, if I could, without bringing up Mr. Jenkins, if Mr. Anderson is on the line, I'd like to go to item number 1, the comprehensive financial plan. Okay. Mr. President, I think that trying to find money to do some of the things we must do in this county. Some is dealing with the jails, A and B. Some is dealing with trying to find summer job money for children, young people in this community, and everything else. That we need to have someone to comprehensively look at our financial plan, look at all the money that we might have in the different divisions of the county, look at swap money, and I want to thank Ms. Davis and Ms. Woods for identifying some other monies that we can now use to reprogram back into the current budget. But we need to have someone to have a comprehensive look at all the monies in Hinds County. Plus, we need someone to also look at the E911 funds and bring us back a recommendation. The recommendation might be simple. We might need to maybe renegotiate the deal we have with Motorola. It might be to do some other things. And I saw the letter, Mr. President, that you sent us and I read it. But we need someone with some expertise who could handle this money situation for us and give us what I call a roadmap. And I got a gentleman from Malachi that's here, and I asked him to come forward. And if he would just kind of tell us some of the things that they would be glad if we have him to look at. Good morning. Just state your name, please.
My name is Larry Day.
Okay.
I work with Malachi Financial Products. Good morning to the board, to the president. I think Supervisor Stokes did an excellent job in explaining what the county needs. I heard you mention earlier that the main goal of the county is to make sure that they're saving the taxpayers' money. We were charged in 2003 to work with the city of Jackson. I don't know if you remember, but the city of Jackson back in 2003, they were facing an impending $15 million budget deficit. They had issues, a host of issues, and we were able to come in and we looked at the projections. If they didn't do anything with that $15 million deficit, if they just sat on it, in 5 years, that $15 million deficit would equal $50 million deficit. So it was a big issue. So, and Supervisor Stokes was on the council at the time. We were brought in, the company I work for, Malachi Financial Products, and they charged us with helping the city to get that deficit back in line and get them back into a mode of being financially responsible. We were able to look at the deficit. We visited each department in the city. We looked at all the different departments. We did desk audits, and we came up with, it was about 115 initiatives, and those initiatives ranged from A to Z. And it gave the council a roadmap, as Supervisor Stokes said earlier, to go off of, to basically use to make good financial decisions about how they want to move, not only today, but in the future. We're very proud of what we did. We were able to, once we implement those 115 initiatives, they didn't implement all of them. It was probably 60% that they were able to actually do. But by doing that 60%, they were able to reduce that deficit, and we were able to close that $50 million projected 5-year deficit that the city has. And we would love to be able to do the same thing for the county. We're experienced in the matter, and we would definitely be able to provide the county a good service if you all decide to bring us forward and hire us to work with you.
I so move, Mr. President.
Okay, it's been moved, and before we go any further with the second, I was under the impression that you're already on with the county, and that the only thing that we need to do is instruct you as to what we need, because it's been stated in the newspaper and in the media for the last several weeks about an impending deficit in the E911 fund, which I agree that there eventually will be at some time in the future. But one of the things that we need to do is to talk about how we can restructure that debt to where we can eliminate that or to prevent that from being a deficit. In other words, I'm saying that does not have to be a deficit where we're saying and talking about the fund going broke, because we have people that are asking for money out of one hand and saying we're broke out of the other hand. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I think that what we can do is restructure or something, the loan or the debt, in order to make it to where that will no longer be an issue. But before we do that, I'll second the motion, and then we'll go for a question from Mrs. Calhoun. And then Mr. Fisher.
Yes, my question was going to be, are you talking about restructuring the bond indebtedness?
That may be a possibility. We're looking at the whole gamut. We're doing a full comprehensive plan, if it's your pleasure. Where we not only will look at the debt, but we will look at all facets of the county financially.
Basically, our departments drive our budget. And we either appropriate or do not appropriate, basically, again, the amount of monies that we have. In restructuring that debt, what are the specific elements or components, rather, of the restructuring process do you have reference to?
Well, you're speaking, you mentioned two things. You talk about restructuring, and you talk about looking at the budget and appropriating certain dollars amount to the budget. Like I said earlier, we would take a look at all of that and bring it back in line. If there's a need for restructuring, we would take a look at it. But if there's a need for just looking at what parks and recreation or whatever department that you all want us to look at, the E911, if we find out that there are certain benchmarks that you all are doing that are not normal when you look at other counties or cities for that matter, we'll take a look at that to see if we can bring that back in line, looking specifically at the numbers. Seeing if you're over, and you will find, and from my experience, we found out that sometimes you're being overcharged for things that you should not be charged for. We would take an in-depth look at that. Sometimes you are, maybe your payroll is too high. We're looking at the entire picture, giving you all the ability to have options to choose whether you want to act on these initiatives. We would just bring you a roadmap, and it still would be up to you to make a decision on whether you want to move forward.
When it comes to looking at the various departments' budgets, those departments have made the determination of what their needs are.
Right.
And oftentimes we do not provide the departments with sufficient funds to handle some of the needs. And I have to admit, oftentimes when they come back to the board for additional funds, we have to react to what the need is rather than being proactive. But as far as analyzing their budgets, I don't think that it's necessary to hire someone to analyze the budget of the E911 account or any other department's account. Anybody can analyze the budget and the spending if they know how to add and subtract. To me, it's as simple as A, B, and C. For example, we use the E911 department. Money comes in from telephone landlines to pay for the operations of the E911 department. B, the money is spent to pay the bills for the cost of operating the department. And C, to see how much the department has left after spending the money. Then we have individuals in county government. We have the Chancery Clerk's office. We have the EOC office. We have a board accountant. Or simply as any one of us can subtract the money that was received, the amount of money spent from the money that was received, which will make a determination of how much money is left in the budget. To me, the formula is as simple as A minus B equals C. And if B is greater than A, then C is in trouble because B has overspent. Now, on restructuring the indebtedness, if I'm not mistaken, did we go through that process recently on restructuring the bond fund?
Yes, I think we did take a look at looking at the bond funds. I don't know if there would be any savings. There may be upfront savings that you can, relief that you can get. I don't know if there would be actual present value savings. But I just wanted to talk a bit about your point about if A plus B should equal C. That's what you said. A minus B should equal C. I'm getting the A's in it. Any way you want to work it, some should equal.
When you're spending money, it's minus.
If you're spending more than you, then you're allocated. I mean, if you're spending more than what you should be, then something is out of whack. Now, but let me just make one statement. I heard your point. We will be working in conjunction. We will not be going into any department fighting. We want to lock hands and work together to come up with a strategy to help the county. If we didn't feel we could save you money, we wouldn't be up here. And we have a track record that shows that we have been able to save you money. I do understand that, yes, you can do it yourself, but I don't think anybody in here would argue that if you can bring somebody in to help you do something better, why not? You can represent yourself in court, but you get a lawyer just so you can have somebody in with expertise to help you out. So that's all we're here to do, to see if we can help the county facilitate saving money and make sure that they are putting themselves moving forward in a way that the county and the taxpayers of Hines County will be happy.
You still have not conveyed to me how you can help us save money. I think the best person or individuals that can help us save money are the departments themselves, the users of the funds. Some of these department heads have come back to this board with very innovative ideas of how to help us save money. They are looking at that budget. Our purchasing department has done an excellent job of monitoring our spendings and our purchasing, and has come back and offered to this board ways of saving money. Our EOC department has done the very same thing, come back to this board and offered us means for saving money. Our public works director has gone out and sought after millions of dollars in contracts, which we take those grant dollars and spend them on the operations of our public works department. So public works has come back and shown us how we can save millions of dollars. And I can keep naming other departments that have done likewise. So again, if our people continue to be innovative and come back and show us how Hines County, the taxpayers, can realize savings, I don't see us spending additional dollars on a function that can be performed by our employees and not from an outside contract. Last year, again, you showed us how, this board worked with you on restructuring our bond indebtedness. But to come in and say you can show our departments, when they are I depend upon our department heads because they are the experts. And they know what they're spending money on. And likewise, this board has the determination to decide whether or not we will allocate certain funds to them for certain things or not to allocate. And so we all are working together as a team to save the taxpayers money. We're doing it in-house, so I don't see a need to contract that particular service out-house.
Okay. We'll go to Mr. Fisher, then Mr. Stokes.
This, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Malachi also hired by this board to do a study on the parkway?
Yes, sir, we were.
Paying you to do that?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah. Where is it?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know, because we were talking about it in the fall.
Yeah, I give you
almost a spring. I haven't had a second follow-up meeting, and all I got from the first meeting was what I already knew.
right.
Now, what we're proposing here is similar to that. It's just a fee-driven.
I want to ask you a question.
It's a free-driven opportunity for Malachi to draw more money out of the county for doing what our county employees and the direct responsibility of our county administrator is to do.
To answer your first question, where is that report? We initially said that there were 3 phases associated with the report. We finished the first phase. The second phase is 95% complete. The board would get a chance to take a look at that and review that. And then once that's done, the third phase, we'll have that completed and you will have your report. It's an extensive project, and it takes time. Our name is on the line. We want to make sure that we're providing the county something that they can use and need.
I understand that.
Okay.
I'm discussion with you about it, but the question, what you provided us today is information that I got off of the...
So we're not finished. I'll be clear, we're not
What we got
finished.
today is information that I got off of the census.
Won't you
You're not
judge
telling me
it?
anything I don't know. I don't know that you're going to tell me anything now that I don't know. You mentioned, for example, just to use your words, maybe salaries are too high. That's
one example.
That's one example.
Mm-hmm.
How do you lower salaries?
How do we know? So we would take a look at to see what's your methodology of hiring as far as your salaries are concerned. What's their methodology? And then if we find out there's something that you need to improve on it, we will let you know. I would have to...
methodology to hire people in the States?
Oh, okay.
People that work for you have that methodology?
We do have a
You
method
do?
of hiring.
Okay. I just wondered because, I'm sure...
No one would tell you that we could help you all provide additional savings that we should not be doing that. Now, if you want to argue that, we'll just have to agree to disagree. If we could not provide savings, we would not be hired by anybody. And that's what we do. We're a financial firm that provides savings, and we provide financing for government entities. We've been doing an excellent job for this county for 10 years plus. And if we were not doing our job, we would not be asked to come up and present to the county about additional ways we can save.
And one final question. Where are you located?
I'm located here.
Where is Malachi located?
No, we have 2 offices. We have an office that's located on Terry Road in this county, and we're also located in Atlanta, Georgia.
Is there anyone else in this county that can provide fresh eyes on our budget?
I can't speak. I'm speaking for what we can do.
And I'm asking a direct question. Is there anyone else that can do this type of work? And I think the answer is yes. If the board feels like this work is needed, which I don't, but if the majority does, I would certainly think that we should reach out to other people, other companies. We even have our own auditor here, BKD, to do that type of stuff. And they come in, or matter of fact, they should be coming in pretty soon, shouldn't they? To do the annual audits that we have. I mean, we just seem to pay for the same services over and over and over and over and over again. And, and finally, the issues that Mr. Stokes brought out may be good issues These are issues that we talk about during the budgeting process. These are issues that if you want to set aside money for summer youth work programs, you set it aside during that process. You don't pass the budget and then say, okay, now where can we go get money to do these other things? That's all done in July, September, and October. If you're going to have a viable budget that will get us through the year. So I just, my own opinion, I just question whether or not we need the service that y'all are offering.
Mr. Stokes, then Mrs. Calhoun.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to start off by saying, welcome to the swag. But your work speaks for yourself. I think last week you even helped the city pass their bonds to repave streets.
Correct. And also restructure the convention center.
Then the schools had bad situations. And I think the schools hired y'all to help them out their situation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, I just want to make sure we get the record straight who y'all are and who all y'all work for. And I heard about, we got all this money, we got all these people finding money. We got a total budget of a little over 50 million. What's the county's total budget? Just really? Jackson Police Department runs off of $48 million. A police department in a city has as much money as the whole Hines County. But we're not trying to find out where's some money, when we can identify some money, some savings. And understand, this is the largest county population-wise in the state, but they don't have swimming pools for the kids. The same county, no summer jobs for young people. The same county, no planning department. We're trying to get somebody to identify some money because we have a memo. I haven't seen it, I hope I get a copy, that say the same thing that happened in parts C can happen in A and B. We got to try to identify some money. If we can get them to fix part C and they have a price, maybe we can identify the money we can get A and B fixed without trying to do a bond that may not pass. And instead of us trying to get somebody to help us identify money, we want to shoot the messenger. They brought about E911. Yes, we need to find out where the money. I talked to everybody. They don't even know. They say state law said the money's supposed to go directly to EOC. It's my understanding the money is going to Ms. Carr's office. So there are some questions where the money is going, who's getting the money. I don't know what's right or wrong. But that's why I want to hire somebody to tell us, is it going to EOC? Is it going to Ms. Carr? What state law say? And these people are qualified and they'll do a wonderful job. And finally, when you start talking about benchmarks, that's exactly what we need. We need benchmarks so that this county can get in some kind of shape financially. Because I'm telling you now, if we sit back and see what's happening at Part C and understand that something needs to happen with A and B and don't do anything, and somebody says we're going to get people a lawsuit and it's going to do us more harm than good. So it's not just looking at E911. We need to look at everything comprehensively. Thank you.
Mrs. Calhoun and Mr. Fisher.
Mr. Day,
Yes, ma'am.
you just said that you all worked with us. When was it last year on restructuring funds? So it's not really any funds that we're going to realize if we restructure it, because you just said that we will not realize it.
I don't think the present value savings, I think may give you some short-term relief. And some cities across the nation are actually taking advantage of the short-term relief.
Right. So there's no need to restructure.
At this point in time, based on the market.
Right.
If you're looking for present value savings.
Correct. And I still don't see how you can show us how our departments can save even more funds when who better can do or show us how to save money than those departments themselves. So what is it in addition that you can do to show us how to save money?
There's nothing in addition. As you stated exactly what we were asking to do. We want to take a look along with the departments, initiatives, ways that we have as professionals seen in other cities using benchmarks to help determine if we can help save additional money for the county. Along with, if there's any debt restructuring that may present itself, we'll take a look at all your debt along with that.
You know, I believe in holding businesses accountable and responsible and working with us. You did mention one idea. And well, let me just back up a second. I don't care if you're a black company or a white company or a red company or whatever color. I believe in holding businesses that work with us accountable for doing the work and being responsible to the taxpayers of Hines County. You mentioned the employees. What are you suggesting? Are you suggesting that we lay off employees? Or are you suggesting that we cut their salaries? If you are suggesting that, you're going to have an uprising from our employee body if you talk about cutting their salaries when they are expecting salary increases. So be specific, please, sir.
I think it would be unfair at this time for me to give you exactly what our initiatives would be without taking a look in detail of what you have. Obviously, laying off employees, obviously reducing salaries would be something that no one wants to do. So to imply that we are suggesting that would be totally inaccurate. We would take a look.
No, I'm asking.
Okay. I just want to make that clear.
We are a service organization, which means that we hire people to perform services for the citizens of Hines County. So if you look at our budget, yes, you would see that we expend more money for hiring people. No, not that we bring in. If we continue to do that, we would definitely be in trouble.
Right.
But we expend monies to hire people because we are a service industry, we're a service organization. So the amount of money we spend will reflect where the majority of our dollars go. I had, as you know, a concern regarding the feasibility study that you presented us during the first phase. In that feasibility study, you all invoiced us for $66,000. And you presented the feasibility study to us in the morning of discussing the contents of that study. And as soon as you put it in my hands, I started scanning through the contents. And all I saw, again, that we paid $66,000 for, and you had listed the population of Hines County. You listed the demographics of Hines County. You provided information on the description of Hines County. Hines County, 396 miles. Let's see, what else did you present?
It was a census.
Well, yeah, the census information. But basically, the information that was in the first phase was information that anyone in this world can go online, as was stated earlier, and pull off. And yet you charged us $66,000. So we proceeded to, some of us, to tell you what it was that we were looking for. We were looking for the economic impact of Florida, including other the surrounding areas and etc. So I didn't think charging $66,000 for information we already have access to was not feasible. It just didn't represent a study.
Well, I would, if you may, I would ask you to determine if you think our work is justified.